Good evening and welcome to the Not So Perfect Bigfoot Show. Tonight I have a special guest, David from Canada. Some of you may know him as Squatchwalkn. And David, it's very nice to have you tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's my pleasure. So I found you very intriguing, especially the way you started your journey with your grandson. But you know what? I'm just going to let you take it from the top and tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I was born in here in Canada, raised in California. I learned early '70s about Bigfoot, um, and my dad always told us boys, we're not the only ones that are intelligent. So it got me thinking, and then I never said anything in the past, and so we moved back to Canada in '74. In '77, I had my first UFO experience. And then I've always been intrigued, never said anything. And then well, shortly after my wife and I had our daughters, I started talking about Bigfoot and stuff like that, but kept it to myself because of the stigma attached to it. And so my grandson, he decided um, he was watching me watching Bigfoot documentaries and YouTube channels, and he come sit on my lap, and he was very interested in what I was watching. And then he asked me if I believed in Bigfoot. Sasquatch. And I go, well, yeah, I'm kind of on the fence. I said, I haven't seen one, but I says, I always wanted to see one, but I guess I says, I don't know. So he wanted to go look for Bigfoot, and he called it Squatchwalkn. And yeah, so that's where the name come from because he wanted a name. I said, you just said it. You said Squatchwalkn. So we have that. So we've been stuck with that ever since then. We've been out for the last couple of years in the search of. We started small. I wanted to take baby steps with him because he was 7 at the time. It started with a park in the city. That came unexpected because we've always gone through this little woods and never seen it, structures. And we veered off and we found structure. Then we went to a what they call here Westminster Pond, and it's off the river for a little bit, but kind of like in the city, and found structures there. And then I decided, well, let's go outside the city. So we went on the outskirts and found behind a bunch of houses in a new subdivision outside the city, structures and tree breaks and bends and a Native American, was a native marker of a directional marker, rock stacks, stick stacks, just everything. And then we went further up north, and we went out. We went out, and it's when we found a compound or a corral. I don't know what it's called. It's about 60 by 80, and it's a bunch of there's structures there, 300-400 pound logs that are in there, and the way they're made, and a bunch of eggs and stuff. And then I just he decided he wants to be with his friends for a bit, so I gave him a break, and so I went on my own and found my first prints back in November, and I've been fascinated with it the whole time. I just didn't say anything because my older brother, when I saw my first UFO, he said I was crazy and all that. So if he's going to tell me I'm crazy about it, not to say anything, the stigma there would, people don't like being, they get ridiculed for Bigfoot. They're not real, all that. And I'm learning everything every day. I'm watching it on TV. Between that and Smash Up Demolition Derby, my two things I watch on YouTube and all that. And people by word of mouth, we got a YouTube channel going. It's called Squatchwalkn. We got a Facebook page called Squatchwalkn. We got 40 videos on YouTube right now, and my new season's going to start. I'm figuring uh, end of February to mid March. Going to go back to where I did my gifting there, and heard my whoops, heard my whoops whistles and a thud. And I guess somebody, my second last video said there was a Bigfoot right in front of you. How could you not see it? It's right in front of your face. And I look over that video and I don't see it, but he sees it. But the thing is, when I I like to have the camera pointed a little bit away from the direction I'm looking at because I think they're going to be more focused on your eyes, where you're looking. And so if the camera's just tilted to the one way a bit, then it could catch them off guard. So um, I'm 60 years old doing this. I was 58. My grandson was 7 years old, and we're loving it. I think I'm loving it more because it's bringing my childhood out, um, and all that, the inner child. So my wife thinks I'm nuts. She goes, "What are you going to do if Bigfoot um, catches you?" I says, "I don't know." I says, "Harley said he's going to run because I'm old and slow. So Bigfoot will come after me and eat me first." So, I said, "Well, don't worry." I said, "I might just push you to the side and I'll just hobble out." So, but I'm having a great time. I'm learning things from everybody. I got people making comments, and I'm learning from those as well. Um, I've had, maybe a couple of negative ones. One's telling me I could do better things with my grandson than look for Bigfoot, and I could save you the problem. There's no such thing as Bigfoot and all that. And my grandson, he doesn't care. He says they're just the kind of people that are bullies, kind of thing. So,
Yes.
but anyways, yeah. Enough of my yapping here. I'm just enjoying it, and I got you here, and here we are.
You know what? I have a question for you.
Sure.
When you first started talking, you were talking about a new subdivision coming in. How do
Hmm.
you think, you know, us coming in and encroaching on their territory? Do you have an opinion about how that may affect them? And
Yeah. Um, People would tell me Bigfoot is nowhere near a city or a town that's got new neighborhoods. And I tell them, don't be that naive. They were here before us, in the bushes. And when we build new homes to make our cities bigger, we're crouching on their land. And so they're leaving probably some stuff behind that people are looking at, maybe at kids made, but then people don't realize that when you got a 300-400 pound log that has the root ball on it, one end, and it's up in the air on an angle, and then you got another one doing the same thing, and it's like an X. There's more to it. Who's going to do that? Um, I think that we are invading, but we can't stop progress. It's going to happen. Um, I think um, that when um, people, they tell you we're encroaching. I just tell them, look, um, they're here. They're not going to go away. Um, they're probably they're good ones. They're bad ones. Um, don't just walk out there. I have a cousin who lives about an hour and a half from here, and they have a big um, set of woods along the Niagara Escarpment. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
no,
It it goes for a couple hundred kilometers at least from Niagara Falls, heading through Ontario along the one of the main rivers, and it has been known as one of the Sasquatch highways going through. And she was posting on there of her ordeal of where she was walking. I saw a structure, and I had to call her up right away. Say, look, get to me. I says, I got to tell you something. And she's learning and all that. And that's another place I want to go to where it's big, it's huge, it's huger than I've ever been to. But yeah, I think we're encroaching. Just because you don't see anything there doesn't mean it's not there. Um, you know, I don't know what else to say. I and I don't know why every time I'm going out, I'm finding something. I just don't make this thing up, like stuff up. I've never done it before prior to this, and learning from other people. Um, they're, I'm just looking. I guess I'm not trying hard, and I think if you try too hard, looking for them out there, they're not going to um, open themselves up to you, and it's going to be hard for you to find things because you're going to think every single thing is something. Um, I would like to meet a UFO or a Sasquatch, but I hear they stink. I hear that they're not so friendly at times, and maybe I'll tinkle my pants or something. I don't know, but I don't know. You know, I don't know. I'm still on the fence with them. I don't believe that there is no such thing, nor do I, like most people would say, you guys see it to believe. And I go, no, I got to believe seeing one when I see one. And when people say they've seen it and everybody's saying, no, there's no such thing, you're imagining it, well, be in their shoes and let them tell you what they've seen. Then you tell everybody else what it is. Um, I believe it's possible. Anything's possible. You just can't write it off because it's like me saying you're crazy when you've seen one and I haven't. And just because you've seen one doesn't mean that, and I haven't, doesn't mean they're not out there. I'm just not smart enough to be there at that exact perfect timing to see one. So I go out to these bushes and I go, I don't, I'll go on where the hiking trail is, and then I'm trying to think like one, and I'm going like, okay, Harley, we're gonna go down this trail. Okay, now there's game trails going off these trails. I said, okay, these game trails, Harley, are a avenue of food source for deer and all. Um, if there's a game trail here, there's a good chance they're there. But then when we're on them, we go and blaze our own trail through the thicket and all that. Um, People have to understand too is like here in London, people say no, there's no deer in the city, there's no coyotes. My wife and I, years ago, were not too like about 5 years ago, we were delivering a newspaper in the city, and we're in a new subdivision, and I almost took out this coyote 5 times into the city. And people are saying there's no such thing as coyotes in the city, and I nearly clocked it. And I actually stood up to one and got out of the car. My wife says, "Get back in the car. You don't challenge these things." And I was just like going and all this to it, and it wouldn't back down, and it hopped the fence. Um, Deer. I almost caught a few deers in the city, and you're not supposed to have deer in the city. So if you're telling me that they're not as close into at the cities, then why are we having deers in the city, coyotes in the city? So just because the city is growing doesn't mean there isn't any. It doesn't mean that these structures aren't real that we see out there. We're just encroaching on their on in their world. I don't go in a structure. That's one rule I don't, because I look at it as a home invasion. I don't want them coming and breaking into my house, so I'm not going to break in. I'll stand outside. And um, and as for the X's, I don't go through X's, and I don't go through the big huge bends because they're supposedly a portal of some sort. They say they can be. So I just keep my distance. I don't, like I said, I don't go in their structures. I don't try very hard, and I try to think outside the box. And I had someone to me today that, like, I've got so many people that are my friends now because it just exploded the past week and a half. I'm over like 500. I started off with 30, 40 a week and a half ago. And this one woman said to me, I have it on my Facebook page that says investigate/hunt and research. And she goes, "You hunt. So what do you, okay, so you hunt, and how much do you get for when you get one?" And I said to her, "I don't hunt Bigfoot. The the term hunt is what we would say in the Bigfoot world. We're investigating. We're researching. That's the hunt." And then she uh, messaged me back and says, "Well, what are you getting out of it then?" I said, "I'm getting the opportunity to possibly see one, and at the same time, I'm finding it fun, um, therapeutic." Harley is looking at it as he would like to see one, but he's a little scared a bit. The compound, when we first found the compound, um, I'd be facing one way taking the video, and you can see in the video where he looks he looks down and he looks around, and you can tell he is getting scared, and he's looking because he sees something, and he says, "Grandpa, Grandpa, let's go now." And I'm like, "I don't like it." So basically, he's getting the heebie-jeebies, is what I call it. And the compound, he didn't want to go back there again. He had this feeling in it, and kids can also um, be part of your senses out there because they're not going to lie to you. Harley, I tried to trick him once just to see how he would react to um, Bigfoot being real or not. And we were on our second hunt in these woods by our place, which is just a small one. I would go whoop, whoop, and he looks around and got the cameras going. And he's going, "Grandpa, stop that." He said, "We don't do this. This is not fake. You do this, it's real, Grandpa. You can't do that. You're not gonna do it." Everybody, that's my grandpa. He's pretending he's Bigfoot, Sasquatch. Just ignore him. I go, "Harley, that wasn't me." He goes, "Everybody, that was my grandpa." And he goes, "Grandpa, don't you ever do that again." He says, "We do this for real." So we do it. Um, but anyways, yeah.
Can I validate something for you as someone that used to work with animals and
Yeah.
someone that used to respond to those calls?
Hmm.
Coyotes thrive better in urban areas than rural areas. And
Hmm.
I'm gonna give you an example. I don't have the article, but it's out there, and I really hate not quoting it. Do you know what city the biggest study on coyotes was ever done in the United States?
Biggest city, well, like with the most amount of coyotes. Probably not in Canada, is it?
The biggest study ever done on coyotes and was in Chicago City.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's a big city.
are abundant in the city. They are abundant. And as someone that used to respond to those calls, they're still in their habitat. It may be your backyard, but it's still their habitat. Do
Yeah.
not get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. If it comes between the coyote and my cat, the coyote's a goner. But other than that, I'm live and let live. You know,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
my cats are in a habitat. Um, so yes, another thing. I don't know if you ever followed any of the late Scott Carpenter's work. He was a good friend of mine. We used to chat a lot. He had a GoPro on his back,
Yeah.
and he got some amazing videos with the GoPro on his back.
Oh,
And
okay.
his advice to me was just act normal, talk, and walk.
Hmm.
GoPro on the back. And I always thought that was really interesting. But another thing is, I think it's just fabulous how your grandson just straightened you out and said,
Hmm.
this is not the way we're going to do this, Grandpa. This is, you got to be
Yeah.
serious. I think that's outstanding.
Yeah. Um, None of you mentioned about the GoPro. Um, like we use our cell phones as our cameras. I've been getting little things here and there. I got a couple of GoPros, and I've always wondered why hasn't anybody taken four GoPros, put one, like have it on, um, I would say not really on your chest, your back, your shoulders, but have a strap that's designed to hold four, one in the front of you, one in the back of where your back of your head is, one on the left side, one on the right side. That way, whatever direction you're looking at, you're getting a 360 on it. And I think you'd be the smartest person out there fooling a Bigfoot out there because they see you looking one way and you got a GoPro going on all around you.
So why don't you do it? Why don't you
Hey,
be that?
don't challenge,
I
don't
challenge
challenge me because everybody that challenges me,
you. I challenge you.
okay, I got two GoPros and I got so much money, but hey, I got two. I can start one with for the front of the head and one in the back.
That's a start. I challenge
Mm-hmm.
you too. I challenge
All
you
right,
with
all right,
so
I'll
there.
try. Okay, challenge accepted. I will do that in the new season. I will. I'll figure out a strap. Probably take what I have that comes with them and mount one on the front of the head, one on the back, and let's see where that goes. That way, front's covered, back's covered. Even if I got a camera separate from that. Um, I'm also looking at working on a. I like to dabble into things, and I'm a visual learner, and I have two drones, but I butchered one up to use some electronics of it. But I also have I found somebody who got rid of a remote control car. What I want to do is make a drone where I can use to take out with me. I know everybody takes these drones that can go a kilometer away, whatever, but I want to make something that's different that can go down and that comes straight down and you can do a 360 right there without having to worry about hitting branches and stuff in the tight spots. But you know, it's going to take a little bit of thinking to do that. But as for the GoPros, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that for sure.
That's all right. Challenge accepted. So you said something about gifting.
Yes. Um, I watched a YouTube channel, Jack the Cameraman, the call or the cameraman, and they gift. I was told you can use fruit and sweet stuff like candies, chocolate bars. Um, I what was it? It was going to be I think my last trip out was going to be well, to me it's not a bust because it's like fishing. You're not guaranteed to find or get anything.
Mhm.
I brought a bag of apples with me. I went into I'm going to call it a compound for now because I call it by two different things. I went to the main, I call it the gathering structure because it was bigger, more open structure where it could see out all four sides. I got a bag of apples. I placed them down in um, into a pile, stacked up the apples. I did a couple of rocks, painted them. I put two rocks. Each one had a Native American um, drawing on it. One's peace, the other one is friend or friendly. And I placed them right next to the apples. I don't know if they're still there or not. But when I had left the gathering hut and I was videoing the south end of the compound, I didn't hear it then. But when I played the video back when I got home, um, I can hear four or three knocks, and I can hear them. And they were to my left if I'm facing south, and that's where there was a thud that I caught the on that. Was it? I think it was the day before or before that earlier, and it's where somebody said that there was a Bigfoot right in front of me peeking up from behind a tree. So I think the gifting was they I was told they know your intentions before you're doing it because they can read a person. Um, so if they knew I had something to gift them, then they probably would give me a gift of some sort back. So I believe that leaving the apples there, they know going to give them something, and whatever it was, it worked. But I'm not out to like I'm going to start gifting now, and I know about learning more about the Native American and stuff. And I'm when I go back out next time, I'm going to bring out gifts again. I'm going to bring out this time. Next time, I'm going to bring out more apples, some chocolate bars with me, maybe some crackers or cookies or something like that. I was told oranges don't work because there was no success with oranges. Um, but people have been using what is that? The hard shell fruit or that or like a squash kind of thing, but the hard shell stuff. It's like you have for Thanksgiving decorations. But I was told they put it on there, marshmallows and stuff like that.
Yep.
Um, yeah, but I want to make some little EMF detector kind of thing. Oh, Jesus, I get these things coming up. I don't know why. Um, I'm going to make like EMF detectors because I got enough electronics at home stuff that I can make them. Um, I'm going to try to do some Wi-Fi laser grid sensors.
Mm-hmm.
It goes to the phone and all that. Lets me know when they go off, or kind of buzzer on them. I don't want to scare the guys away. With them, they might not want to come back anymore. But I got a bunch of things I want to try out for next year. It's all just an experiment. See what works. One thing will work good for one person. One person. Something else will work something for somebody else. I'm sure you have your ways that works for you. I'm just trying to find out what works for me. And the way that I can try is what I see on YouTube and documentaries and try them. And it's just a trial and error. I'm not out there to be famous. Excuse me. Harley and I have this pact we made. Um, we don't give out our locate. We don't give out the locations we were at because just in case, in reality, if somebody does go out and want to hunt for one, I don't want to be the one that says, "Hey, yeah, we saw them there, and they just killed one." I don't want that because
Yeah.
they're a being still, and
Yeah.
we don't tell anybody. We just we're just going to keep it to if we find one, we're just going to keep it to ourselves. Um, we don't want to be famous for it. If somebody wants to know, have you seen one? I go, oh yeah, I've seen one. And they go, where? Oh, I can't tell you. I just told somebody says, I hear you got a YouTube channel. You got a YouTube channel. I go, oh yeah. How do you know? I see it on YouTube. Where you been? I go, what do you mean? Well, where do you go? I said, I can't tell you that. She goes, oh no, why not? Because that's a pact that my grandson and I made. Is we don't tell anybody where where we seen one. And my wife and my daughter, they know what day. They know the Saturday we're going to go out. They uh, they have to know where we're at in case there's a problem. But they know only on that day. But I pick out the area. I don't do too much research in it. It's just I look for where I think is a waterway, and I've been successful so far because I have a theory of the path that they're taking, and I don't I don't know what entrance I'm going to go to where I'm going. I don't even know what trail I'm going. I don't know what off trail, what game trail, nothing. I just go out and go out there and just investigate. Just look and say, okay, could they be here? Could they be there? Um, I, I'm just not going to go and um, tell the world, hey, I found one. If I have one one's on my video, then hey, it's on video. And that's where it's going to be. But I'm not putting any tags on it or anything because I don't want anybody out there. I have one gentleman who said, "Hey, how about have you ever tried this spot?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "I've heard some whoops out there." And I said, "Oh, really?" So um, I went out, and he says, "Did you get anything?" I said, "Oh, I heard a whoop and some whistle and some knocks." He goes, "Whereabouts exactly?" I said, "Oh, I can't tell you." He goes, "Well, I told you the location. You can try." And I said, "Tell you what, I'm going back again this year. If you can come down from Toronto and come over to London, I'll take you there and let's go and I'll show you exactly where." Um, I track all my everywhere I've been. I use an app, and first thing I do is it does a GPS track of where you walk, so I can see where, in case I got to figure out, okay, how do I get back? I've been disoriented a couple of times with Harley, and
Yeah.
one of my own, and they say that they can kind of like play with your mental compass in your in your brain. And I've had to look at this app, and then I go, tell Harley, okay, we just got in here, but I don't know how to get out of here, and I should know because I've been there like only there for 5, 10 minutes, and I can't find our way out. And then he starts to panic. I go, hold on, Harley, and I get it out, and then oh, okay. But when I look at um, my trail that I blaze through, I look at where there is a different trails, and I find that I'm way off finding these things, and I could be off by a few hundred feet from them. I have um, what is it? They're from Lake Erie all the way up into Barrie and all that, to the Great Lakes. There's one water um, a river of water that goes through without giving it too much. There of where the this river or what where this river is and other ones that feed off it or come into it. The Native Americans have traveled this river, and I'm finding that I go along this river. I am finding stuff, and I believe that Bigfoot and the Native Americans are tied in together. And I just heard yesterday that they are by watching. Somebody said to me, "Hey, I got to give you a link. I want you to take a look, and you tell me what you think." And I looked at the documentary, and they had two Native American, um, a couple, and they were told through their ancestors that Bigfoot was in the states. Um, they didn't give the exact location of in the U.S. that Bigfoot Bigfoot to them was a Native Americans that went rogue, and they were um, making the Native Americans look bad, their group, and so their medicine people or witch doctors or whatever you want to call them, um, ousted them and cast one of their sacred whatever on them and told them, "You're going to go and you're going to live in the woods, and we're going to give you the ability to blend in the woods, and you're not going to look like people anymore, humans." And that got me wondering that, okay, when they said blend in, supposedly Bigfoot can cloak. You've heard of that?
Cloak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna just say it like this. When you first start on your journey, what you call crazy on day one,
Hmm.
a year from now, you're looking at the possibilities. So I do not, when I hear anything like that, I do not, just tell someone they're crazy or anything
Hmm.
because, I've spoken to some pretty solid people.
Hmm.
Solid doesn't mean you're educated. It doesn't mean, you're a scientist or like
Yeah.
being prior law enforcement doesn't give me credibility. What gives a person credibility is character.
Hmm.
And so when I say they're solid, they have a solid character. And they have seen some crazy stuff. And
Hmm.
the more you go down the rabbit hole, what you think is a uh, not possible on day one, a year from now, you're like, maybe so. So
Hmm.
yes, I've heard of the cloaking, and I
Yeah.
do think it's a possibility because who am I to think that I have so much knowledge and just because I may have a hard time grasping something doesn't mean it can't happen. That
No,
would be pretty, ignorant.
yeah, you'd be pretty naive. Um, I always wondered, um, while I was starting and watching these Bigfoot hunts, does Bigfoot have the ability to cloak? And I always wondered about that. And then I watched a show on the Discovery Channel, and they were hunting for Bigfoot. And across the river is probably about 20 feet across. And the camera crew that they had with them that does them Expedition Bigfoot, they're out one side of this river, and on the other cross on the other side was a like a dirt cliff coming straight down, and the camera crew was in front and to the side and kind of in front of these two people on the show, and they have their and these two people have their cameras facing across the river because they heard something because they chased something down that way, and the the other camera crew people um, that are with them because they each got to have a person with them filming their journey that they're doing to look. And they're standing there and they're looking across the river, and I'm looking at it and I'm going like, what? No, it didn't happen. And it was like as if a shadow came out of nowhere right in front of the screen, and it went on for about 4 or 5 seconds, and then just disappeared. And they started questioning each other about, okay, who was standing where were the lighting and everything else. And I'm going like, oh, I bet you they can cloak. And now they realize that they can mess with frequencies. They can cloak. They are very intuitive with people. They know that they'll know if you believe in them as being just like everybody else. That the Native Americans say that they will show themselves to you, but you have to believe in them and believe that they're just as important on this earth as we are, and that we're really no different than they are. It's just they could have they're they're like the as somebody said the missing link in a way, but they were talking about their ancestors and all that, and I'm going like everything's starting to fall into place on how I used to think about them. That little pieces are coming into play. Things I
Mhm.
didn't know about them are starting to shine more, and then the excitement is getting there, and it just wants me to go out. I don't know if I have the Bigfoot bug, but my wife says, "Ah, you and this Bigfoot thing and all that." It's like we're sitting here watching TV, and this phone I'm using is the one that we normally just use. She takes to work and all that. I have my other one is just for Sasquatch stuff, and it's just like ding, 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 and she goes, "Gosh, are you being well known people and all that?" I go, "I don't know." And all that, and she goes, "Gosh, that phone." She goes, you and Bigfoot, this and Bigfoot that, and you got Hardy and the Bigfoot and stuff. I said, "Hey, the kid's got a good imagination. He's got the passion. I wish there was more." As one mother commented to me, telling me she has a granddaughter who she would like to have her granddaughter go out and experience to go look for Bigfoot, but her mom and dad won't let her because they don't believe in Bigfoot. And I messaged her back and says, "Kids have a curious mind. Let them figure it out for themselves. Just tell them you believe what you want to believe. I'll show you what I've in my world, what I see, um, and you go from there." Like I don't think we should have kids learning this, and let them know so that when they're out there, they can be more around, more aware of their surroundings. There won't be that stigma as much anymore. I've seen one group on a YouTube channel where they bunch, they're like have like a Bigfoot camp every year, and they probably take about a dozen and a half kids out there. I would love to give a location out to some parents in my area, but a little of asking. But take the kids and have the parents come and just go take the path I've just to show them what I've been finding. And then, like even if I've already been there, like about if I've been there half a dozen times, if I know where these things are, I'll just take them and just kind of walk a bit and then see if they can pick up on what they see, if they see a structure or a rock stack or a stick stack and all that. Um, that's great. I love to have the kids doing that. My thing, I've seen so many tree breaks, so many tree bends. I know a buck or a deer didn't do it because there's nothing that, well, they, first of all, something that's 4 inches in diameter. There's no way a deer or a buck can do it. We don't have gorillas. We don't have apes that can do that. And even if it's a foot off the ground and they don't take the tree and twist it and snap it. And then you're looking at 6 feet off the ground. Who can do that 6 feet off the ground with a 4 inch tree, snapper and they're all going the same direction, you know, and, but I see so many of those. The things that interest me more was stick stacks and rock stacks. I find those are interesting because I'm trying to figure out, is there a pattern with directions? If there's anything that shows which way they're going or whatever, but now I wasn't looking and I found big footprints or I should say big footprints, prints. They are big. They're like 13, 14 inches with the toes going like as if it was like sliding in and the leaves are there in with it and it hasn't rained, but they're wet. And in this ravine that I went down, there's water going down, and I had to watch where I was going because it was running. And every 4 or 5 feet, it would drop 2 or 3 feet, and I would have to, put the camera on pause to get over it, and then go again. And it's like this one log. When I found my first footprint, and I looked at it very well. I wish I would have done a better video of up on top, but I had to put the camera down, pointing to what I was doing, and I had to get the measuring tape out and find out where I could see where the break was, and I had a picture of that with the break. But then I'm going, okay, I only have one print here, and then I got a log going across, and I see another dark patch, and it's about 4 feet from the first one, and I'm going, okay, I'm looking at it, and okay, this one is a right foot. Now I got a left foot. Then I go over the log and I looked at the left foot, and I go, okay. And then I could see where it was going. It was like going down to not quite the center, but off to one side. And they were at least a 4 foot stride. And I'm going like, I can't even do that as an adult in a ravine that is probably near the top about 150 feet. And it's about 20 feet deep. It's almost on a 45 going down. And there's like rocks and all that. Then I get down to the bottom, and what do I see at the bottom? A rock stack. And there's rocks that were lined up before I went to the rock stack. I'm going like, what? Okay, I got this one big rock, but then I got all these white rocks that are fair size, and then there's a big white one on top of it. I'm going like, what the heck is this? And I'm going like, okay, whatever. And then I start really looking around. Okay, somebody messing with me, or am I finding something here? And then I just continue on, and I'm talking and all that and trying to not feel scared, but I don't think I really am. I'm in the zone. That's my element out there. I love it. And having suffering from PTSD and depression, all that, it helps out. And so I'm out there and it's clearing the mind and all that. And I'm just looking around and okay, yeah, there's a chickmunk. Yeah, okay, people, that's a chickmunk. There he is right there. And all that. And then I start saying, okay, I'm going to start some whistle. So I start whistling and nothing. Then I try a different whistle and nothing. And then it's dead silent. Then all of a sudden I hear a whistle. I'm going like, okay. So then I start picking up a stick and doing tree knocks. And I must have done like last time I was out, 3 set of tree knocks, nothing. I do the fourth one. And then I hear a knock way back. Then I'm looking in one direction. Then out of the corner of my right ear, I hear a thump, not rocks falling. not a boulder falling, because the tumbles, the sounds. And I felt it through my feet. I'm going like something. It's a thud, and it came from over there, but I'm feeling it through my feet, and I'm going like something's there. And I go take a look and go further, and there's nothing there. And I'm looking around, and that's when somebody said to me, as I'm turning my head to the left, camera was staying to the right. They said, "How could you not see that? He's right in front of you. He's just right in front of you. He's behind a tree." And I said, "Okay, I'll have to take a look back." I'm looking. I still can't find out where he's seen it. And I kind of have an idea. I was going to get a snapshot of it and send it to you, but I'm going like, okay, he sees one thing, I see something different. And just because he sees it doesn't mean it's not true. And that's what people have to understand. I've seen where people are on YouTube and they're looking at these Bigfoot things. They're saying, okay, and they're circling all these blurs. I don't know what I go. I don't know what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing blurs. They go, "Can't you see?" I go, "Oh yeah, I see blurs. Most of the picture looks blurry to me." But hey, I say, hey, just because I see it doesn't mean that you're. I don't see it. It's not. It's not. You're not wrong. There's no right. There's no wrong. I wasn't there. Um, my interpretation might be a little different than yours. Um, people see things differently. You can look at tiles, and you look at it long enough, you can see patterns, you can see faces in it, and your mind can play tricks. But it doesn't mean that it wasn't there, you know. But I don't know. I'm not a skeptic. I I'm slowly starting to be more of. I'm at the 51% now of believing, because I'm finding what um, I found, and now hearing what people are talking about. I'm more open, and I'm going to start to um, talk like I talk to them like they're people, and I'm going to start calling them out and say, "Look, you're my friend. I'm your friend. I'm not here to hurt you and all that. Please come out whenever you feel free," and stuff like that. And somebody says, "Oh, go hug a tree." Hey, I might just do that because they say they hide in trees. You see, they said if only trees have faces, or just a face on that tree. You never know. They could be morphed into that. I don't know. I'll be a tree hugger. I don't care. Oh, I don't hear you.
Yeah, my cat, my dog were going at it.
Oh,
When you're talking about cloaking, do
mhm.
you follow David Plotty's Missing 411?
Mm. No, I've seen a, a bunch of people, like different things out there that talks about cloak, but I can't remember everything I see or hear.
I'm two things. I have a friend in Pennsylvania named Gwen that actually talks to youth or younger generations. I left her a voicemail and asked her if I could give you the information. So as soon as I hear back from her, but she's out there in the Bigfoot world. She'd be someone excellent for you to speak
Hmm.
to about planting and get that started.
Hmm.
Second thing, um, the reason why I think that you see more now when you go out, your eyes have been opened. You
Hmm.
know what you're looking for. So many times people that are in the community and have experience or looking or on a journey, they look more than the average person. They're
Hmm.
more tuned to those things, and that's just how I feel about it. But there is some people may not like this, but I really like David Pilates, Missing 411 Can Am.
Okay.
He has a Bigfoot class where he's put the hours in. I don't care what anyone says about him. I have a great respect for the man,
Hmm.
and he has put the hours in. He's investigated people. I'm going to send you the link to that.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
want you to watch his videos. You don't have to like them. It's just a suggestion. I agree on some things he says, but other things I don't because my experiences may not match his.
Mm-hmm.
Um, your experiences may not match mine. Does it
Mm-hmm.
mean I'm right and you're wrong, or you're wrong, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm right, whatever? But I'm gonna send you that link, and I want you to check it out. Um, he has some really good interviews. He goes speaks to a lot of native people in his areas. His
Mm-hmm.
out, I mean, he pounds the ground like he just stays out of the Bigfoot community because of the drama.
Yeah.
But there's Dan Nedereto's another good
Mm-hmm.
person I can put you up with, and these are people that they don't mind. Gwen, Dan, there's so many people out there. They do not mind sharing information. They do not mind,
Mm-hmm.
um, answering those questions for you. Probably way better than I could because I only know my experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to put you in touch with them.
Okay, I appreciate that. Um, I have a question for you. Would I had when Harley and were out, um, there was this little island where the place we were at, and they have what we call Fossil Island. It's
Mhm.
just section of the river that has fossils. Like I'm talking about tens of thousands of fossils on it.
Mhm.
We did a you'll see it in you see one of our I don't know probably the fourth episode, third episode from our last season. We did a Harley wanted to do a rock stack and put a fossil on top, and he wanted to do it as an offering to Bigfoot and the cryptids. So we made one, and he started talking about how this is to the cryptid Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and all that, and that we did it for you and all that. Somebody told me that I don't know. What do you think about that? It's bad juju to do rock stacks for them.
I think people are going to tell you based on their own experiences or their own beliefs. And I think if you're comfortable with it and you don't feel like you're putting negative juju and you know your
Mm-hmm.
intention, I believe they read energy very well.
Mm-hmm. I'll let Charlie know about that because he was really excited. And then when I went out last time to take a look, we had some rain, and I went there. The island was gone. Like there was a log sitting on there, and I couldn't even get out there in my boots. And I'm going like, "Oh, Harley, our island, Rockstack, it's gone," and all that. So I said, "Harley, sorry." And I got back and I was telling about it, and he goes, "No." I go, "Yes, Harley." He goes, "Grandpa, when we go back there, you got to do it again." I said, "We'll go out and we'll do another one out there, but I'm going to take them further in, and this time when I go where I heard the thud." Um, I'm going to go further in yet because um, the more I find I go along the river, the more I'm finding when I'm going up. And I don't care if there's a farm that backs onto it. It and I have a lot of bush. Um, they have ways of going through. They have ways of traveling. They can go right if you have a river going through a city, and you have enough brush, and if they have the ability to close, even without the ability, they could blend in. They're very good at hiding themselves and not to be seen and to scare things off because apparently dogs don't won't go anywhere near where they're at because dogs it does something to them. They get scared. But they can travel through along the river without you knowing about it in the middle of the night and they go right through your city.
You can be 3 feet away from them and not see them. Remember what I told you about the vines?
Yes, I was just thinking that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Vines, trees, shrubs. Yeah, there are vines there. One of the things I hated about being out the place I when I go out is those little freaking things that stick to your clothes, eh?
Peanut bushes.
Yeah, I hate those things. They're hard to get off. I'm going like, why am I doing this? I'm going through here, and then I go, hey, everybody, don't wear any kind of flannel because these things stick onto you, and don't wear track pants because they stick onto you. You know, don't you know?
Well, we're
Um,
rounding into about an hour, but there was something I wanted to ask you about. You said you saw your UFO in
Yeah.
1977.
Hmm.
I think that in the 70s, there was a rash of UFO sightings, and people all over the Southeast saw them.
Hmm.
As someone that had an experience in the 90s,
Hmm.
I would like to hear about that if you don't mind.
Um, we were my dad and my two brothers, my older brother, my younger brother. We were camping up north, up in Tobermory, Ontario. It was about probably about 9 o'clock at night. My my two brothers and my dad were in the camper. I was on top of the camper, and I like being outside more than they were. I was laying on top. I'm just looking at the planes and everything going by, and I see this white light going across. And then I would ask my dad, I say, Dad, I see a white light going across. And he goes, Is it flashing? No. Okay, it's probably a satellite. I go, How do you know it's satellite? He goes, It's going in straight, it goes a straight line. The sun's reflecting off it. I go, Oh, okay, I'm thinking that far away. Okay, I guess anything's possible. So then I said, Dad, he goes, What? It just changed direction. He goes, Well, probably a plane. I go, um, very sharp and on a split second. He goes, I don't know. I go, Dad, it just did it again. And this happened in within about 30 to 35 seconds. And it did probably about four sharp turns. And then my dad decided he's going to come out and take a look. So he hangs out the door and he watches where I'm pointing and he sees the last 3 seconds. And he goes, What? And it was just like Star Trek, where the USS Enterprise goes through and you see the tracer of the back end and then it goes to the front. And then we're watching it. And as soon as the front of the far end of it disappeared, the back end was like just like catching up with it so fast. And my dad couldn't believe it. He goes, Oh, I think you saw a UFO. But my older brother says, Don't tell anybody because you're crazy. And but he was, I shouldn't really say it, bully. But um, I didn't tell much of it to anybody. My dad said, really, don't tell anybody because you might get ridiculed as a kid and all that. So I didn't bother, but I've, UFOs and all that. And we get home, and then 2.5 months later, we're down in the basement, my little brother and I, and we see this wrapped paper thing behind my dad's stereo. And we go take a look at it, and um, we opened it up, and my little brother says, Hey, you see what I see? And I go, Yeah. And he goes, What do you think it is? I says, it's a bunch of UFO markings on it. There must have been like 50, like lines going to 50 different places. And my little brother said, okay, now who's crazy? You know, that's what he says. Now who's crazy? He says, he called you crazy when you saw that up in Tobermory. And he's the one 2 months later, he's got a map and he denies it and all that. I'm going like, yeah, okay, this is why I don't tell anybody and all that. But that was quite my first. I've always heard about green men growing up as a little kid in California, but then coming to Canada, I see what I still to this day believe because later on that night there was my dad has the radio on and we're listening and everything you're hearing is from up in the Tobermory area. Phone calls or you can hear people radio stations and they're getting phone calls of a light in the sky doing sharp turns and stuff like that. And my dad just tells me by myself, I think you saw something like you're not the only one. And then it was like, okay, I've seen a UFO, I haven't seen a Bigfoot, but hey, I'm getting there and all that. But when I do it, hey world, guess what? You're not knowing where I found them. And I'll let you know, but maybe not quite the exact location, but
Yeah,
I'll show you a picture.
that'd be great.
Maybe I'll have my hand around them and say, hey, here, let's go have a beer or something. But be honest with that. I know people say don't be too naive, or you're not going to want uh, you're crazy for wanting to get close to one. I'm going like, well, I just that kind of a person with that kind of attitude where I really do want to see one. I really do want to stand beside one, talk if it's at a distance, share some, break some bread. I do want to communicate. And I don't know, I just want to be friends with the things, and it might sound crazy, but I out there, like it's their world, maybe tell me about their world.
Well, I think when it comes to, UFO,
Yeah.
Bigfoot, orbs, portals, anything else, uh, you go, you follow the road you want to follow. And if people call you crazy, when they explain to me what normal is, I'm fine. But if normal is like most of the world out there, I don't want to be normal. So you do you,
Yeah.
and let them do you. And I think it's great that you take your grandson out in nature.
Hmm.
I would better if you had some kind of beacon or something that would, give your location off if something ever happened.
Hmm.
Something about, but some of the best memories are getting kids out of the house into
Yeah.
nature. And
Yeah.
my best memory in the world was my dad taking me fishing. And my
Yeah.
daddy was on Wayne, and I would give anything to have that day back. So you keep squash walking,
Oh
and I
yeah.
hope you come back for an update.
Yeah. And I'll do that GoPro. I'll figure out how to use these things and stick those
Challenge.
memory cards you got in there and stick one at least on the front of the head and one on the back and see what happens.
Well, you do that when I see that, I'm gonna say, okay, you win the challenge.
Yeah.
And
Okay. What do I get for it?
my friendship.
Yeah. Okay. I guess we'll have to do for now. Yeah.
Hey, you
Yeah.
might get a good capture.
Yeah. I hope so too. Or at least I don't care if it's a head shot or a foot shot or a hand shot. You know, um, anybody can tell what a fake is now these days. And hey, government's coming out. Your U.S. government's coming out accepting that with the people there are UFOs. So Bigfoot is next.
That's
You
about the
know.
only thing I trust the government on in the United States.
Well,
Because they
yeah,
admitted there's UFOs.
yeah. Hey, I was told those mounds you find out in the bushes there, Native Americans claim that it's the bodies under trees. You
Don't
know.
know.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah. All
It's a
right. Well.
it's a rabbit hole, my friend, and enjoy the journey. And you'll make some of the best friends along the way. There are some good
Oh,
out there.
yeah. That'll be yeah. And with Harley, it's like he's not going to know any other kids that does this or does it with his grandfather. And when I'm not around, he'll tell his kids and maybe he'll continue on. I know the channel will still be up and says, hey, when I'm gone, it's yours. So I'll hand over the reign to him. But as for now, you keep on squatch walking or you keep on watching. We'll keep on squatch walking.
Absolutely. You take care, David.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye bye.